Hi everyone. Today, Group 2 will be talking about the international public relations of our host country, China. We'll be focusing on the company Nike and the campaign Let the Run Tell You Why. The Nike created campaign Let the Run Tell You Why, with the help of Wyden and Kennedy, reached millions of people. This campaign was executed not only to boost sales, but also to portray running in a positive light. To give you a background of the campaign before we go into the analysis overview and talk about the audience and the evaluation of the campaign, I'll tell you that there is a YouTube video that was created that featured Chinese runners, and the video linked to each runner's story depicting why they run, and in turn, these stories were meant to inspire others to find their own reason to run. I'll now let Liz give you a little background on our host country. Thank you.
China, officially the People's Republic of China, is the largest Asian country and has the largest population of any country in the world. The official language is Mandarin Chinese, and there is no official religion. As of 2015, the population was 1.3 billion people. Almost one-fifth of humanity is of Chinese nationality. Historical records show that even as early as 800 BCE, 13.7 million people already inhabited China. In the 15th century onward, the population steadily increased, but growth was disrupted by wars and natural disasters in the 17th century. However, in the 18th century, China enjoyed a period of peace and prosperity fueled by territorial expansion and accelerating population. After communist takeover in 1949, sanitation and medical care improved immensely. Epidemics were brought under control, and overall future generations enjoyed progressively better health. Due to the death rate declining faster than the birth rate and limited resources, there have been several attempts to control the population. Many family planning campaigns were implemented over the years. Most notably, in 1979, a stricter initiative was taken, and one child was allowed per family. Since this program, China's population growth rate is almost the lowest in developed countries. China's population is made up of many different ethnic and linguistic groups. However, the Han, Chinese, are the largest group and outnumber all other minorities. The Chinese government has advanced these minorities' economic well-being, raised their living standards, provided educational facilities, raised their literacy levels, and promoted their national languages and cultures. Physical exercise is a staple of Chinese culture as seen by the millions of people who practice martial arts and dance. China has also come to dominate international sport competition since it began participating in the Olympic Games. The health and fitness industry in China is expanding, according to an official of the Chinese Association of Sport Industry. The fitness industry will become a pillar of the national economy. However, running isn't seen as an enjoyable sport in China. Most kids only experience running as a painful routine in school and therefore don't like to spend their free time. Nike hopped on this trend and launched the Let the Run Tell You Why campaign in Greater China to encourage non-runners to run. According to Hofstede's Cultural Dimensions, China is a highly collectivist culture with a score of 10. Collectivist cultures are relationship-oriented, emphasize experience, rely on circular reasoning, are interdependent, collaborative and consensual, indirect, patient, and flexible with time. A major aspect of Chinese collectivism is guanxi, the network of connections and friendships. Asian countries tend to have high power distance, and China is no exception. In the score of 80, inequalities among people in Chinese society are accepted. Subordinate superior relationships are polarized, and people should not have aspirations beyond their rights. This stems largely from China's imperial tradition. With a score of 66, China is a masculine society, meaning society is driven by competition, achievement, and success, rather than caring for others and quality of life. Chinese society is also male-dominated, and men are viewed superior to women. For uncertainty avoidance, China has a low score of 30, signifying that Chinese are comfortable with ambiguity. They can adapt and are entrepreneurial. In relation to long-term orientation, China has a score of 87, which means it is very pragmatic culture. The Chinese believe that the truth relies heavily on time, situation, and practice. In addition, they focus on patience, hard work, and perseverance. In the indulgence dimension, China scored a 24. This low score indicates a tendency towards cynicism and pessimism. The Chinese don't put much emphasis on leisure time and control the gratification of their desires. In 2015, China was ranked 83rd out of 168 countries and had a score of 37 on the Corruption Perception Scale. Any country that scores below 50 has a serious corruption problem. In the past 4 years, China's score has remained consistent, showing that efforts to fight corruption have stalled. China's government is one of the few remaining communist regimes. Since 1949, China has been governed by the Communist Party of China. The National People's Congress is the highest authority, while the State Council is the executive body and exercises leadership over all state administrative organs at the central, provincial, autonomous, and regional and municipal levels. China's administrative system has been elite governing, authoritative, and bureaucratic. There have been administrative reforms in the 1980s towards decentralization, and the people in smaller areas of the country have been given more decision-making power. There have been 3 stages of economic reform: the trial stage in the 1980s, the expansion stage in the 1990s, and the stabilizing stage. There are still some transitions going on. China's foreign trade has expanded and is the biggest factor driving foreign technologies and managerial talent have also upgraded all types of industry. China is now ranked among the top countries of the world. However, their economic reform has also had some challenges. Agriculture has lagged behind all other sectors. Rural incomes are less than a third of urban incomes, and manufacturing has turned China into a factory of the world, ruining a large part of the environment. Chinese traditions such as Confucianism continue to play a big role in society. Chinese media has always served as an authoritative mouthpiece. Government and the party censor media, and although it still retains the role as the party's propaganda tool, media has begun to provide news, entertainment, and voice public opinions, assuming more of a watchdog role. Public relations in China is moving towards professionalism. After PR was introduced to some key industries such as tourism and banking, it began to spread to other areas such as government institutions. The introduction stage lasted from 1980 to 1985, and the roles and functions of PR were widely misunderstood and confused. It was thought as a substitute for network marketing. It was also used stereotypically as a glamorous occupation because most practitioners were beautiful women with little training. The next stage the practice saw was upsurge, and more people became aware and interested in PR. Universities even began to offer training and courses in public relations. Third stage was termed a rethinking stage, and socialist public relations with Chinese features came into being. This discouraged copying Western PR and called for a close state supervision of the practice. The declining stage followed, and a third of PR firms and departments in large businesses were eliminated. Many people blamed PR practitioners for widespread government corruption and business fraud. Lastly, Chinese PR underwent a revitalization stage. The interest in the field rose once again. Five other factors have also been identified that may have contributed to the revitalization of practice: growing public pressure for transparency, media system becoming less shackled, internationalization of Chinese business, diverse business fields and decentralization of government, and public relations programs in universities. One strength that exists is that Nike is a strong brand name that already had a presence in China. A major opportunity is the diverse audience Nike could appeal to. They could target men and women of all ages. A threat Nike must face with is the public's negative perception of violence that has been instilled in them from an early age. One weakness may have been a limited budget, but we were unable to find specific numbers.
Hi everybody, my name's Casey and I'm going to be getting into the bulk of the Nike's Let the Run Tell You Why campaign. So to start off with an overview, this campaign was launched in 2013, and although there is not a definite timeline that we could find while we analyzed this campaign, it kicked off right at the beginning of 2013 in the January-February time period, and then we kind of considered the 2013 Shanghai Marathon to be closer to the ending of this campaign, which was at the end of 2013, so the duration being about 1 year is what we're going to look at. So this campaign was launched to appeal to the Chinese population that does not run, and while there is a portion that does run and use Nike products, there was an Nike saw an opportunity to appeal to an even larger audience that looks at running as kind of negatively. They see running as something that is forced because in school they were forced to run for exercise. So Nike had a job to do, and it was to overcome this conception that running is all negative. And they wanted to show the good running does, hence the campaign name, Let the Run Tell You Why. So in order to accomplish this, they relied on a variety of communication tactics, including an interactive film that we thought was one of the best parts of this campaign, many advertisements, and sponsoring the 2013 Shanghai Marathon. So to start with the advertisements, these advertisements featured Chinese runners surrounded by writings that said things such as, wouldn't it be easier to take diet pills, or why do I run when it hurts so much, and other kind of typical negative thoughts that surrounded running for this Chinese population. And then overshadowing these quotes, you can see the white writing at the bottom over here on the slides. You see the Nike swoosh and then just do it. And then up next to that and above that is the tagline of the campaign, Let the Run Tell You Why. And so these advertisements were kind of to get the Chinese non-runners to kind of stop and, see maybe the thoughts they may have had going through their head and be like, oh, I think that, and then be like, I wonder what it means by Let the Run Tell You Why. So these were used to trigger that initial interest. And then the interactive film was hugely successful, had over millions of views on YouTube and Weibo and other social media platforms. And this video featured Chinese runners, the stories of them. And these stories had strong emotional ties, which triggered that emotional response in their target audience. For example, it featured a woman who was blind that used running as an outlet, and then it also featured the story of an old man who ran so many marathons until he was too old and they told him he could not register, in which case he registered under another name. So it's these kinds of uplifting stories where Chinese runners gave running a whole new meaning. And this got the population of non-runners kind of out starting to run to find their own reason to run. And this brings us to kind of the peak / ending of the campaign, and that was the 2013 Shanghai Marathon. This marathon brought out thousands, over 3,500 to be exact, or 35,000 new and seasoned runners, and these runners were asked to write on their bib their personal reason for running. And the marathon was tailored for both new runners who were encouraged to run the 10K and seasoned runners who were encouraged to complete the full marathon. So the campaign here, with everyone writing their own reason on their bib, it really brought to light how much Nike was able to accomplish in the year with the turnout at the marathon and all of the greater China area talking about their personal reason for running. So this, throughout the campaign, the spark of interest in running caused an increase in sales of Nike products and also created more innovation in Nike products to tailor to this new population of runners. So I hope that gives you a bit of an idea about the campaign, and now we're going to get into the goals and objectives. So one of the goals of the campaign was to spark an interest in running in the Chinese population that did not run. And to measure this, the objective we came up with was to increase the number of people who engaged with the campaign on social media. So to measure this objective, Nike would have considered how many uses of the hashtag Let the Run Tell You Why they had, how many views of the interactive film and clicks on the embedded links, how many advertisements were put up through Greater China and then how many registered marathon runners they had. And all of this could have been measured to see if Nike achieves its goal of sparking an interest in running, which we believe that they did accomplish this goal in the campaign. And then the second goal was to encourage non-runners to start to run. And in order to measure this, we wanted to show an increase in the sale of Nike products, which would have indicated that more of the Chinese populations was going to buy Nike because they were starting to run. And then also by enticing more people to tell their reason for running, which to measure this, again, looking at the media impressions and how many use of the hashtags and how many marathon runners wrote on their bibs their own personal reason for running. All of these things indicate how more non-runners were starting to find their own reason for running. And again, we do think Nike was successful in achieving this goal as well. So now that we've talked about the goals, I'm going to talk a bit about the internal and external factors of Nike. Beginning with the internal factors, Nike is an organization whose mission statement is to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. And if you have a body, you are considered an athlete to Nike. So that's the whole human populations. So Nike creates products, services, and experience for athletes, and this began back when Nike was founded by Bill Bowerman and Phil Knight, one was a University of Oregon track coach and one was a former University of Oregon track star. And Bowerman was searching for the long-lasting running shoes for his runners, and Knight was looking to do something that involved his love for athletics, and this is where we get Nike. So the name of Nike came from Greek mythology, and Nike was a winged goddess of victory. So this infamous swoosh, you can actually embodies the spirit of this winged goddess who inspired courageous warriors. And the graphic was designed by Caroline Davidson in 1971. This swoosh has become very important to the company because as Nike is now a multinational corporation, it's important to have this recognizable symbol that when you see it, you relate it to the Just Do It slogan and the Nike company as a whole. And now we're going to get a bit into the external factors of Nike. Now for the external factors. So a little bit about the political environment. China has a relatively conservative approach to politics, and this goes back to 1947 when the Communist Party took power. And currently the president of China still works to carry out this conservative approach to keep his power. And although the Constitution does have the right to freedom of speech, freedom of press, right to trial, etc., when put into practice, some of these rights are often overlooked. And this political environment is very seen as corrupt, which is shown in the Corruption Perceptions Index. Next, the economic environment. China has gone through 3 different stages of economic reform and is now moving towards a fully established market economy. In regards to economic decision-making, China has a laissez-faire approach to foreign involvement in the economy, and they're also trying to adopt a hands-off approach in business development. And while they're moving towards a fully established market economy, they are lagging in agricultural. The agricultural market is falling behind. And then finally, the cultural environment. China has a very distinct culture. There's more than 1 billion people and over 56 ethnic groups. So it's very diverse, and a lot of Confucianism beliefs are still apparent in today's culture. So all of these factors play a role in public relation campaigns. And lastly, for me, to reiterate, so initially the public's view on running was not positive, and although physical exercise is a staple, and an official of the Chinese Association of Sport Industries predicts that it will become a pillar of the national economy, running was not seen as an enjoyable sport in China, mostly because it was a forceful experience as a child. So that is what one of the obstacles Nike had to overcome.
The campaign decided to target people in China that don't consider running as a sport or an enjoyable task. They view it as something they were forced to do during school or for punishment in sports. The video, Let the Run Tell You Why, encouraged non-runners of any age to view running as an experience and that there are many reasons to do so. The target audience is subconsciously encouraged to start running to find a reason of their own and to begin. There is no specific age or gender. The runners in the video are every age, gender, size, and ethnicity. The video allows for the audience to become interactive and learn more about the runners and their stories. This makes the audience feel more involved in the movement and encourage them to sign up for the 2013 Shanghai Marathon at the end of 2013 in December. The secondary audience would be the runners the campaign inspires to continue running, which would be like the seasoned runners and all the featured runners that were in the YouTube videos and anyone who has been a long-time consumer of Nike. So the communication tools, they use a lot of different social media websites, and as you see on the slide, there are some examples of the ones they use, such as Facebook, Instagram, Weibo, YouTube, and WeChat. We've also provided a link of one of the tools and strategies they used, which was a truck that had a virtual marathon with treadmill so people could try the Shanghai Marathon route, and they received a video and could share it with their friends on their social media pages to encourage people to sign up. Along with Whedon and Kennedy, who are the ones who helped campaign with Nike, Ogilvy and Mather Group Hong Kong dominated the social media sphere in February when the new campaign came out. They additionally helped with what the campaign wanted to accomplish. Along with the video and the link we provided you with, Nike created a series of advertisements that were put up all around the city. They showed Chinese runners running through the city, surrounded by negativity and doubt of non-runners. Some of the posters included, will he get a raise by doing this? Isn't it faster to take pills? And why doesn't he just enjoy life? These posters were followed by the hashtag, Let the Run Tell You Why. We feel these advertisements were successful in triggering the interest of Chinese non-runners to find the reason to run. The visuals were eye-triggering in the interest of Chinese non-runners. The target audience of the non-runners thought the posters were relatable because they caught their interest. In addition, there was a film created of all their unique stories. While they were watching the videos on YouTube, the public could click on embedded links to read more in depth about that runner's story they were watching. And through analyzing the campaign, we believe that the film had a huge impact on the campaign's success. The film had millions of views and was shared through various social media networks, and this, we believe, brought emotion to the campaign. This, in turn, had many non-runners going out and finding their own reason to run, which, again, led to Nike and the Let the Run Tell You Why campaign sponsoring the 2013 Shanghai Marathon. And as I said before, in weeks leading up to the marathon, Nike strategically placed those trucks throughout Hong Kong with the virtual simulator and treadmill where people could try out the Shanghai Marathon route. This eventually attracted more runners to join the marathon and also seasoned runners. When the marathon finally came to, the public had bibs and it said you could write why you ran and you gave your reason of why you ran. So for the SWOT analysis, Nike is obviously an international brand and is very well known. So one of their strengths are Nike is a strong brand, obviously, like I said, recognized worldwide, and has a presence in China. This was not the first campaign in China, so they are having already had experience dealing with China. So even though it's always interesting to practice in a different culture, at least they have a background of already being there and knowing somewhat what has already been going on. They just might have to update on certain current events. Some weaknesses: we could not find a budget for this campaign, so we technically don't know how much money went into all the advertisements, the videos, the truck simulator, the marathon. It would be nice to be able to examine how much time and effort and money went into this specific campaign because it was quite successful. Some opportunities is obviously Nike can appeal to a diverse audience. That is because they make men's and women's clothing and even children and anyone of any age, really. So they're able to target a good amount of people and have a wide range of consumers. For threats, there's obviously in China a negative perception of running. There's, for some reason, it is used as a punishment in schools, so a lot of kids from a young age already have a negative view on running, and that could be harmful to their campaign in trying to get people to run. The circuit of culture consists of 5 moments, which are regulation, production, consumption, representation, and identity. For years, Nike, again, has been a dominant brand of footwear and athletic wear. Regulation comprises controls on cultural activity. So the Chinese government predetermines media functions. So government relations is a major part of any public relations campaign in China. They have a lot of their hand in what goes on. Production outlines the process by which creators of cultural products imbue them with meaning. So the Nike campaign used advertisements, the YouTube videos, the simulator to encode the Nike brand with running in a positive light and why everyone has their own motivation to do so. Representation is a form an object takes and the meaning encoded in that form. The Nike brand, specifically Nike running gear, came to represent the meaning behind every runner's motivation. The practitioners were successfully able to relate the Nike brand and the positive image of running in conjunction. Consumption occurs when messages are decoded by the audience, and the audience, in this case Chinese non-runners, began to interpret the Nike brand as a motivational reason to run. Identities are the meanings that arise from all social networks, so from nations to organizations to publics. Nike did this by already encoding an organizational text with the practitioners' targeted specific audience, non-runners, and they did this by their advertising slogan, "Just Do It." Additionally, the practitioners gave people individualized motivation to run, and that became connected with the Nike brand.
Hi, my name is Lee Nielsen, and I'll tell you about our campaign evaluation, and I'll start with the analysis. Nike's The Run Tell You Why campaign was produced by the company Wyden and Kennedy. They have implemented a lot of Nike's visions and were able to carry through on their vision for this specific campaign. Overall, this campaign videos people of different races, genders, sizes, and it created a huge impact for Nike. The campaign reached millions of people, specifically those in China and Asian countries. They focused a lot on the Asian culture because many people of that ethnicity don't see running as a fun sport, as previously stated by my teammates. But Nike is trying to change that perception. And this campaign, they pulled on the emotional side of advertising, which is usually more effective depending on what the product was. But in this one, they focused more on people over product and created an interactive campaign where you could really get to know the people in the campaign. which is unusual because usually you just see a 15-second advertisement. But this, you could click in, get to know the people, and like Casey stated, get to know the marathon runner who's run so many that he had to enter under a different name. So that's what really advanced this campaign further than I think other running campaigns. And now I'll talk about our reactions to the campaign. This campaign was a success because of how intimate the audience was able to get with the runners, like I said. And since it pulled on the more emotional side, I think it really resonated more with the audience. And since Nike is a huge business, but they are still competing to stay number one, they have to make their advertisements have a lasting impact on their audience, because they could just focus on the shoe and it wouldn't really resonate with the person watching it. And one of the biggest things in campaigns is word of mouth. So if you see this campaign, you want to tell somebody else. And that, I think, is what they really created here, is that this is a campaign that you want to tell someone about, that you want someone else to listen to. So that was our reaction to this. And a more tangible reaction of success for this video was how fast the Shanghai Marathon sold out, faster than it ever has in years previous. And so this shows that the encouragement of the video really pushed people to sign up because they wanted to find the reasons why they should run, just like the people in the video, and they wanted to be able to connect more with the people in the video, and that really proved to work for them for this campaign. We agree a critique from our group for this campaign is that although they were purposely targeting Chinese people, in the future they could make this a huge campaign by widening the scope of who are they trying to reach. They could include more culturally diverse people so that they can have more of an impact for people to run. And it was a great initiative to not make it about the shoes and how great they are, but that running in general is an amazing experience that Nike wants to share with you. So like I said before, this was more of a people campaign over a product campaign. They were able to focus on the people in the videos instead of the shoes that they were wearing, which, I mean, you do see the shoes that they're wearing, but they don't mention a name, or they just really focus on who's running and why they're running. And I think that's what people appreciate. Like, even if they're thinking of buying a shoe, they'll automatically register the story that they've seen in this campaign. Now I'll talk about some of our recommendations for this. A recommendation from our group would be to start a new campaign where anyone can submit reasons for why they run, maybe including pictures of their own and videos, and then Nike could have an interactive map online showing where these submissions are coming from. So this means people can connect all over the world. And since there would be the interactive portion on the web, it would let people converse, find people with similar reasons for running, and get to know people. Maybe they didn't realize that was a reason why people ran, and then they can relate even more. This could encourage people to travel overseas to participate in races when they are able to make friends internationally who also love to run. Because many times people don't want to fly overseas to do a race because they don't know anyone, they're scared of the culture, but this really breaks the barrier. If they already met someone, can relate to them, and that would not only help the destination that they're going to, but the economy and even the campaign for Nike. I'll now let my teammate wrap up with the conclusion. Thank you. Overall, through this project, we have learned that public relations is practiced differently throughout the world. There's many different ways that people perceive it, look at it, and even practice it. Launching a campaign in China is no exception to this. In order for Nike to have a successful campaign, they had to consider the cultural dimensions, economic factors, level of corruption, and political factors of China. And as we've been learning through lectures and readings, government and public relations are tied, and especially in a country like China. Once Nike was able to analyze the environment that they would launch the campaign in, Nike then would consider the audience they wanted to reach, and then the communication tactics that would be used to accomplish their goals. This was, as you know, prepping for a campaign and then launching it takes many, many months beforehand to be able to analyze the whole situation and make sure that it's actually going to reach and portray the image that you want it to. We believe Nike's Let the Run Tell You Why campaign was successful, and by analyzing Nike's efforts, we have seen how important it is to understand the country you're operating in. And that seems like the purpose of our course. We're getting to know how to interact with other cultures, ethnicities, religions, and make sure that our campaign has a focus and that we stay on it throughout the whole process. And we believe that Nike's campaign through Let the Run Tell You Why really did this. Thank you.